Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. How's it going? All right, so we got about looks like shooting over 10 now people here. For those that are here, for those that can hear me, go ahead and just add a comment or anything, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're actually on StreamYard on the website itself. Go ahead and post a comment just so that way I know you're here. Ronnie, I know you're here, man. I appreciate you so much for always being here, dude. I really appreciate it. And we're going to jump into it soon. Just want to make sure everybody can hear me before we move on. Hey, Michelle. Greetings from Pakistan. Hey, Nick. Is it Shirza from Pakistan? Did I pronounce that right? Hopefully I did. Hey, Lou. Hey, Deanna. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. We'll get started. Let's see if I can make myself a little bit bigger there. There we go. Hey, Amy. Shirza. Dude, nailed it. Nice. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to change up the music to a little bit more chillaxed. Zach from Houston. Cool. I love that we started putting where we're from. Thank you, Shirza, for starting that. Houston, Texas. I know Deanna's from Florida. Ronnie, you're from the Philippines. Cool, cool. All right. This one's a little bit more gloomy. I change it again. Let's put it a little bit down. All right. Hey, Edward. OKC? What's OKC? Michelle from New York. Cool. Are you like in, Michelle, are you in like New York City or just like the rural area of New York? Netherlands, Mike. Whoa. Oklahoma City, Edward. Nice. Alabama. Cool. Michelle, I don't know if that's yes to New York City or yes to outside of New York City. Deanna says OKC is home of Women's College World Series for softball. Come on, Aaron. I'm sorry, Deanna. I'm sorry. Of course you would know that. Look, Deanna, we're going to have to play softball together at some point so you can show me and teach me everything that you know. New York City, Michelle. Nice. Very cool. All right. Well, thank you everybody for the chit chat. Let's get started. Let's jump into it. So let's talk about email marketing and get you all masters at email marketing. And then start talking about unlocking the power of effective campaigns. So the first thing I just want to start with on this is that you don't need to worry about, if you want to take your own individual notes, like go ahead. But all these slides, everything that we do, we post it up on our website. That's just wolfpackedvising.com. Under resources at the top, you're going to go to webinars. We'll post the entire slides there. So you're going to get a copy of everything. But feel free to take notes on anything that I'm saying. We're also going to post the recording, so the recording's not going anywhere in case you ever need to go back to it as well. So first up, let's start with a quick little introduction and start with the importance of email marketing. If you're here, I'm sure you're aware of the importance of email marketing, but I like to restate it sometimes. So first is it's direct communication with your target audience. Now, as you build your email list and you start sending these emails out, it is a direct line of communication. It is the most efficient, cheapest way to communicate with them besides, of course, maybe face-to-face. It's cost effective and has a very high return on investment. Most people may think like, hey, email marketing, how am I calculating my return on investment and how are people getting so high of a return? Well, we'll show you a little bit of how we can track the return on investment on your email marketing strategies. But Obviously, too, super cost effective. You're just sending some zeros and ones over the web. So super cheap. According to a study, by the way, that we found, is the average return on investment for email marketing is $42 for every $1 spent, making it one of the most efficient ways to communicate with your customers. It's kind of hard to imagine at first how you can attribute like $42 for every dollar spent, but we'll show you how. We'll show you how in this. And also, third thing, analytics for continuous improvement. Email marketing has been so refined, and there's tons of analytics that go into it. So as an email marketer, as a marketer in general, you can really look at all those individual analytics and know exactly what it's telling you need to do in order to improve the return on investment. So just a sample marketing automation ROI that we've done here is, this is in the last 30 days for a particular account I just pulled up. They have on the first column here is the amount of deals created. A deal in this case is just a notation for like, hey, this is a lead or a prospect, right? And this is the estimated value that I think I'm going to close them for. So we enter them into a drip sequence for a bunch of emails. We say, hey, these people are projected to be, X amount of dollars. And then out of that drip sequence, how much did we return in a 30-day period? And you can see we've returned $30,000 of that. So that's how people are getting such a high return on investment, is you first say, hey, these are all the emails that I'm tracking. I enter them into this sequence, this drip sequence. And then at the end of the drip sequence, how many people convert? All right. So let's talk about an overview of everything we're going to talk about today. So first, we're going to start out with some goals and KPIs. What I like to start with any type of marketing campaign or any question really is, why am I doing this? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Does it make sense? Do I have the actual goals for it? I would hate to spend time or tell someone to invest time in something when it's not actually returning anything from them. So that's where we talk about goals and KPIs. So what metrics and goals should you look at? Then we'll look at audiences and break that down, how to really break into your target audience. We'll talk about crafting content and how to get your audience to listen to you. So first, what are goals, right? Start there. Then, okay, with our goals, how do we target the right people? And then once we know we're targeting the right people, how do we get them the actual content that they want to listen to? And then how do we leverage automation to make it to where we don't have to do the work anymore? Because who would all love to work from home and just click a button to turn something on? And then how do we optimize for delivery? So ensure that our audience is actually getting our emails sufficiently. And then analyze the performance. How to use analytics to improve the return on investment. Finally, we're just going to end with a little tidbit on prospecting. So like cold outreach with email. We're not going to go too heavy into it, but I do want to mention it during this call, because a lot of people may not be using email marketing with cold outreach effectively. And so I want to touch on that as well. All right. So goals and KPIs. Goals for email marketing campaigns. First is audience engagement and relationship building. So your first goal here is to just build your meeting relationships over email with your customers and your target audience and your prospects and your leads. Second is you need to focus on lead generation. So getting these people that are prospects into your pipeline, into your sales funnel, and get them to convert. So we're converting leads into paying customers. And then our third goal for email marketing campaigns is general brand awareness and customer retention. When somebody is from a lead to then now converts into a paying customer to now they're a customer, how do we upsell them? How do we cross-sell them? How do we retain them as a customer? And basically squeeze out the lifetime value of that customer. And we're going to do this with some of these key performance indicators. These key performance indicators, or KPIs as we call it, tell us how effective we are with our email marketing campaigns. So the first one is open rate. How many people are opening your emails? Click-through rate. How many people are clicking on links to convert in your emails? Conversion rate. How many people are actually purchasing something after they click on something within your email? So they go to send an email to 100 people. Once you send it, how many people open it? How many people click the link? Once they click the link and they go to your landing page, how many people actually purchase? And then we also have a couple other ones in here, like list growth rate. How many more subscribers are you gaining over time? That's super important, right? Because you don't want your list or your email list going down. And then churn rate. How many subscribers are you losing over a period of time? It's totally normal to lose subscribers, but we need to monitor our churn rate. Anything over 5 or 10%, something's going wrong. And then finally, return on investment. What is the total money earned, right? Minus the money we invested. So before we move on to this next section, I want to talk real quick about some email marketing softwares. I had this at the end, but I want to just make a cool list of all this different software that we probably recommend. Some of it has really good pros. Some of it has really bad cons. What I like to just tell everybody is spend the time to invest on your own. Really pick apart the nuances of the different software before you go all into one, because the worst thing that you want to do is invest a ton of time with one, switch to another, then go, oh no, I need this feature, and then go back. That tends to be more costly than just doing the upfront research. If you aren't familiar with G2, G2 is a really good software review platform. I'd highly recommend going to G2 and then looking at these different email marketing softwares. So the first one, obviously, a lot of people are probably going to know HubSpot. It's really great, honestly. However, it's expensive. OmniSend is another option, a little bit cheaper. Campaign Monitor is another option as well. Active Campaign is one of my personal favorites. Sendinblue, I've used them for a little bit cheaper. Didn't have all the features I wanted at the time. MailChimp, everybody should know about MailChimp if you're into email marketing. Same with Constant Contact. And then you can use some of our software, which we'll talk about. We're not really going to talk about too much about our software. It's really more informational on this webinar, but it's on our website if you want to check it out. So these are some of the different options you can go with. As I mentioned before, go to g2.com, do your research, make sure you're looking for the features you want. And then after that, start signing up with some trials and make sure you like the user interface of it and it has everything you need before you just jump in to one given software. All right, we're starting with audiences. So we broke down our goals. We broke down our KPIs. Our goals are for lead generation, converting them into paying customers, brand awareness, right? And then retaining our customers. Then we talked about the KPIs where we're talking about open rate, click-through rate, conversion rate, all those little different metrics. So now let's pick apart the audience and understanding who are we sending these emails to? How do we grow our email list? All those little nuances. So first, your audience is who subscribes to your emails, obviously, right? Think about for yourself, what email newsletters are you subscribed to that you actually read? So a big piece of email marketing, a big piece is just ultimately thinking for yourself, what email newsletters are you subscribed to and what email newsletters do you actually read? Besides just like open it and then close it, or just archive it immediately or delete it immediately, whatever you do. Or if you're like my sister, she just has 1,000 notifications constantly on her phone that appear as the little red bubble on her iPhone. That would drive me nuts. But maybe you're that person and you just kind of leave it unopened, right? Which emails are you opening and why? Once you start thinking about that, then you can really understand your audience, because putting yourself in their shoes, okay, if this person is my target audience, what type of emails should I send them that they're going to enjoy reading, right? If I am a marketing agency, I'm going to send content that's relevant to my business, but also I need to think about my target audience and what are they going to enjoy reading? What's important to them? So what do you actually value and read? And to understand your audience, think about what your audience would value. What would they appreciate to read? And only then, and only then start sending emails to them. So a lot of people jump the gun. They just immediately say, I'm going to start sending emails. But when you do that and you don't think about what they actually want to learn about or know, you really just miss a step and you're not actually going to connect with your audience because you don't understand what they want to read and they're not going to spend their time doing it. Segmentation is another piece of this puzzle. where it's about filtering your contacts or your audience. So now we're talking just in terms of contacts. It's the same thing as your audience based on certain conditions. So you may have an audience or a customer list, and they all are the same type of person. But for most businesses, segmentation is a way for you to filter out your audience to really filter down the right person. For example, today we needed to send an email to a list of people who are on our customer list, but in a specific industry, and then also who haven't made a purchase before on another website, right? So we need to add segmentation and additional filters. In order to do that, we need to store that information in our CRM or in our email marketing software. We need to store that, hey, they're in this industry, they're an active customer, and they've never made this purchase before. And then we can segment by that. So based on attributes to your business, maybe what type of service or subscription they're on. You could do this by top customers and agents. Maybe top customers are a certain revenue or a certain number of purchases. Inactive customers, customers that maybe have unsubscribed from your purchasing, or maybe it's a monthly subscription model, or maybe you have some type of reoccurring item. Customers of a specific product or service, as I mentioned before. And then when sending an email campaign, do not forget to segment your audience appropriately so the message connects super well. An example of this is if you are sending an email and you want to send it to your customers, or if you're a home inspection company, you want to send it to your agents, right? Anything like that. It would be super effective to filter out and differentiate the content to your top customers versus customers who haven't made a purchase in a while. The reason being is because you want to treat that top customer like who they are, a top customer. They know they're a top customer to you. So your language should be a little bit different, right? Hey, Tom, thanks so much. We appreciate your business. We recognize that you really appreciate working with us. Here's our message, right? Versus, hey, Tom, we haven't heard from you in a while. Just wanted to check in and see if you wanted to get some more information about X, Y, and Z, all right? Now, another point in audiences that I want to mention that's super important is permission-based marketing. So in email marketing, contacts need to give permission for you to send emails and even text messages. So a lot of people are really keen on just sending text messages like to whoever, or sending emails like, hey, I just bought this email list, right? I'm just going to start sending emails. Understand that we have to have permission in order to send somebody a mass email, right? A mass marketing email. Permission is usually received through an opt-in checkbox during a purchase or when you register for an event like this, such as a webinar. I don't believe on this one, there may or may not have been a checkbox, but normally when you're signing up for events, there's a little checkbox where you opt in to subscribe to an email list. So that way you're going to subscribe to mass emails and start getting newsletters after the event. Or maybe after you make a purchase on a website, you can subscribe to their marketing emails. That is what you should be doing with your email marketing. If you're not doing that, expect a ton of unsubscribes, which we'll talk about as well. So ensure your email marketing software connects to your opt-in form or point of sale system, then only email contacts where you have their direct permission. So if you have some type of scheduling software, point of sale system, maybe it's all on your website, make sure it integrates, they talk to each other and they say, hey, Billy Bob, he just subscribed, he opted in, subscribe him to the email marketing newsletter, right? Here's an example of that on our website where we have this little website pop-up that says, looking for marketing secrets, subscribe to the Howler newsletter to get free weekly marketing secrets. So that is an example of when somebody can actually opt in. Email marketing laws, CAN-SPAM and GDPR. So the CAN-SPAM Act, you must have an opt-out mechanism, but most softwares do it for you. So make sure you don't remove that, but most email marketing softwares that are worth anything are going to have an opt-out mechanism that you can't remove. So you should be golden. Commercial emails must include accurate sender information, a clear subject line, and a physical postal address. Misleading headers and deceptive subject lines are prohibited. So if you look at the bottom of email marketing newsletters, you're going to require, or most email marketing softwares require, a address, or a business address. That business address is required by this act, as well as with your subject lines and your content. We can't be misleading, right? We have to say what we mean. GDPR is for the European Union only, and it's for companies must have a legal basis for processing personal data, including email addresses. Consent is a common lawful basis, and individuals have the right to withdraw consent at any time. Individuals have rights to regarding the personal data, including the right to access, rectify, and erase their information. Companies must comply with these requests and ensure data is handled securely. So one of the things I just want to mention about this real quick is Wolfpack is not, I'm not a lawyer, not an attorney, anything like that. We are based in the United States, and the majority of our customers are going to be based in the United States. We don't have any customers in the European Union. So what I would say, if you have to abide by the GDPR, if you have customers in the European Union, you do have to abide by these. I would recommend you read these laws yourself if you're taking email marketing upon yourself. Read through these, make sure you understand it and know it. In the United States, in certain states, they require additional ones. Like California has a lot of additional communication related, email communication related laws that we have to abide by. So make sure you just spend some time looking at that. But these are going to be your two big ones, all right? Which most email marketing softwares are going to help you with automatically. So you're not going to have to worry too much about it. All right, so we got all of that stuff out of the way. Let's talk about strategies for growing your audience or your email list now. So the first one you saw was a website pop-up. You can also do webinars and events. Hey, look at this one. Opt in during point of sale. So somebody makes a purchase on your website, maybe at your store, maybe with your your service-based business. Ask them to opt into your marketing emails. You can also do advertisements. What you might see often with Facebook ads is when they do broad reach campaigns, they do something like, hey, sign up here for 5 secrets to grow your business or your revenue 100x or 10x. Well, when you do that, you actually give them your email address to where you're subscribing to their newsletters. You could also do contests and giveaways, social media posts, and just create awesome content. Honestly, if you just create awesome content, people are going to subscribe to your stuff no matter what. It's really that simple. You could also collab and do some cross promotion. So if you have businesses in your industry that you can kind of work together with, you can do some collaboration between the two, some cross promotion between the different email lists, really get your name out there even more. Email list cleanup. So we talked about growing your email list, growing your audience, but it's also important to regular clean up your audience, right? So you need to create a habit of cleaning your email list quarterly or yearly is usually what I recommend. You could do it every 6 months or so. Every quarter is really good too. And you're going to remove unengaged contacts. So you're going to remove contacts that haven't opened any emails and that haven't clicked on anything. Because if they're not opening your emails to begin with, why are we sending them emails? They're not going to open it. If they haven't opened anything in the 6 months and you send an email every week, your email's not getting to them. So just removing them is going to make your metrics look better, and you're going to keep engaged contacts subscribed to your email newsletters. So depending on your sending volume, I would recommend either unsubscribing contacts that haven't opened or clicked on anything in the last 3 to 6 months. Without email list cleanup, your email marketing metrics could be off, which we'll talk about at the end. And these are people that aren't going to give you a return on investment anyway. If they haven't opened anything in 6 months, they're not going to purchase anything. Or if they do, maybe they're just, the email's bad. So yeah. You're also hurting your own email deliverability performance. If you send a bunch of emails out, Google knows how that's being received. So I'd consider that as well. Here's a screenshot of an example of how we can remove unengaged contacts from ActiveCampaign. So when you remove unengaged contacts, it will unsubscribe all contacts who have never engaged, clicked, opened, etc. campaign in the past. If contact exists on multiple lists, they'll only be unsubscribed from this list. Otherwise, you can create a tag for them below. So you can unsubscribe all engaged contacts or unsubscribe all unengaged contacts past a certain date. I would highly recommend making sure that your email marketing software includes a feature like this, just because it makes your life a whole lot easier, right? If you build your email list for 10 years, it really needs to be cleaned up. So let's now shift over to crafting compelling content. So general content guidelines is test and preview your design on mobile and desktop. Most people, it seems, I really don't feel like they actually test and preview the design. Email it to yourself. Email it to yourself and then pull out your phone. Make sure it looks good on your phone. Check in your own email clients, right? Like if you have Gmail, like the Gmail app, check in the Gmail app. Do not use images to display content in words. Use images to complement your text. It's okay to have an image that has a heading in it. Make sure that heading is somewhere else as well, but don't just have an email with just a huge graphic with like a huge infographic, right? An email is supposed to have text in it. And a lot of times, sometimes the images don't download to the email servers or the different email clients. And if you just send a massive image, you can end up in the junk folder more often than not. Use headings, subheadings, paragraph text together. So you actually notice too, your email clients, most email softwares are going to include a way for you to have what's called a different heading structure. So a heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, all the way sometimes up to heading 6, and then paragraph text. Make sure when you're drafting your emails and creating your different emails, you're utilizing those different heading structures appropriately. So you can label, hey, this is my heading 1, and then I have heading 2 for my subheading, and then maybe you have a couple like 3 paragraphs, so you do subheadings, and then your actual paragraph text where the meat of the content is going to do that paragraph normal sized text. And then use buttons throughout with contrasting colors to increase click-through rates. One of the worst things that you don't want to do is if your background of your email is like an orangish color, you don't want to have like a red button, right? If your background's red, you want to have a super contrasting color that shows the button. So you're going to do a white button with black text, right? Or if your background's white, you're not going to do a gray button. You're going to do like a black button or a blue button or a green button, something that really contrasts, sticks out. And you can also consider it aligns with your branding as a company. So if you look like my little name on this little webinar has blue text with white font, you can consider we have a white background of an email, and then the button could be blue text, white font. And then finally, focus on creating that valuable content rather than just pushing content. More often than not, people are just pushing emails. And when you just push emails with just regular text, regular copy, you don't consider the fact of what is interesting to them. The value comes in when it's actually valuable, when people want to spend the time to read it. If you're just pushing sales, people read into that and it's not going to perform as well. Subject lines and preview texts. So I'll show an example of this, but subject lines should be less than 10 words and less than 60 characters. Character is just a letter or a space. So like the C here is a character, or the H is another character. So 10 words or less, 60 characters. Preview text should be no longer than 140 characters. Preview text is what appears underneath the subject line in email clients. Keep it short, concise, and focus on text that entices a click. Don't be super spammy. Don't be like, hey, you get free stuff in this. Avoid these like trigger junk words such as free or exclamation points or subscribe. Anything like that that you can consider like kind of spammy. I would not consider putting that in your subject line. Instead, put something like, 5 secrets to growing your business, right? Something that entices the click, actually gives an example of what's in the email itself, but is not super spammy or sketchy. So here is a screenshot of just an email client so you can kind of see. We have the name, right? We have the subject line, which is this regular text, and then the lighter text is the preview text. So when you're considering sending out these emails and you want to optimize for open rates, consider, hey, what's my subject line? And then what's the preview text? I guarantee you every single one of us is going to open up our email client like this one with Gmail. And when we focus on all these different stuff, we're going to read the subject line first. And then immediately after, we're going to read the preview text. And that's going to decide if we click on it, open it, respond to it, or do something with it versus carrying on. Personalization and segmentation. So email should be first segmented to ensure the message is sent to the right audience. Even if it means a smaller audience, it's better to send to a smaller, better audience than send a massive email where it does not connect with everyone. Add personalization to your email. At a minimum, this means using their first name replacement value to say, hey name at the beginning of the email. Adding more personalization in your email is better. I think, do I have a, no, I don't. So an example of this, or just how we can go a little bit further in the personalization part, is it's better to segment and go down the rabbit hole of, hey, let me send an email directly to my inactive customers, and then adding personalization to that, than sending one email that's targeting a huge upsell, right? Target your inactives, right? Or people that have canceled or something like that. Target them individually, and then target your top customers individually. Target these people individually rather than doing one big lump sum. And then you can personalize the emails a little bit better, and it's going to connect with them and resonate them a little bit more rather than it just looking like a huge email blast. It is a huge email blast, but we don't want it to look or appear or sound like that. Tips for effective use of graphics. Relevance and align with your message. So use images that enhance your message. Use images and colors that align with your branding. Optimize for quick loading. So keep in mind, when we're on our phones and we download like an email or we look at an email, it's downloading from server and you need cellular access in order to download it. Well, if you have a huge image, right, it needs to download to that person's phone. So make sure you're using something like compressor.io. I'll put that in the chat. It's compressor.io. This site is super helpful to compress your images and make them a little bit smaller before you do send it out. So if it's anything over probably 500 kilobytes, you probably want to compress it or resize it. All right. And then again, just make sure that it's enhancing your message. Use images and colors that align with your branding, and keep in mind that contrasting colors thing that I talked about. Make sure it's not a red image on an orange background or a green image on a lime background, something that does not actually align well. Call to action enhancement. You can use images too to help improve your CTA and click-through rates, such as in the images itself, you can add a little button there. And most email marketing softwares are going to include a way for you to be able to click on the image for it to go to an external link. Here's my example. So here's an example. It's a little bit wordy, but the background is a gray or a white. So you can see it goes with my branding for Wolfpack Summit, and it's very contrasting. You can see here I have a nice little about Ryan. This one is using a subheading. And then here's all my paragraph text. So a way I can enhance this a little bit more is I can include a button that says register now in my graphic. And when people click this button, they can go to it. Leveraging automation. So this is Wolfpack CRM. And one of the ways that we can leverage automation, as I talked about, is we can enter people into an automation based on a certain trigger and then automatically follow up through the strip sequence. So at the beginning, we have a trigger that says date is 2 months after the contact's most recent inspection. So this is a home inspection company. They're targeting a real estate agent. So they're saying, hey, if they haven't worked with this company or with this agent in 2 months, enter them into my inactive agent automation. Then it adds a deal. So if you remember at the beginning of this presentation, I talked about deals and how we track return on investment. So with this particular program, we add a record that says, hey, this is an agent that hasn't worked within us a while. There's a value here of say $500 to convert this particular agent. So we add the record for the deal. Then we could do whatever. So in this case, I'm doing some different items such as adding a tag. I am waiting, but I'm sending an email, right? And then you can start segmenting, filtering, or doing additional items. I usually recommend some type of medium of contact every week and mix it with omni-channel. So that's email, text message, phone call, etc. Postcards, the list goes on. You can also use customer lifecycle automations. Well, let's take a step back. So here I have my inactive agent automation, but here what I want to outline is the different types of automations you could do. So you could do customer lifecycle automations where you use your email marketing software to also help with the entire lifecycle of your customers. So usually your funnel or your lifecycle is going to start with a prospective customer, flow into a new customer, then you want to upsell them, then you want to cross-sell them, then you want to revive inactive customers, and then finally they fully offboard or cancel, and then at some point you can get them back in the loop. So when you think about automations, think about the entire customer lifecycle, or whichever type of program you are. If you're a home inspection company, that's going to be your agent lifecycle, and start with from prospect to lead, right? To then new, upselling, cross-selling, reviving if they become inactive, and then circle back. Your email marketing software should become your CRM and connect with your scheduling software so data is always up to date. I put this in here because if you're a home service company, you need to make sure that all of this customer data is staying up to date so that way you can maintain that life cycle. So if somebody cancels, you can have them immediately go into a sequence to say, hey, why'd you cancel? So automations can run campaigns, can track the total return on investment through each channel. So you set up your customer lifecycle like this, and then for each stage, you're tracking the return on investment for each one, from prospective to new, from new upselling and cross-selling. And then once they become inactive or if they cancel, they churn, we're tracking, hey, of those ones that churn, how many we can revive. You're going to mix in your automations with omni-channel automations. So it's just a way of just saying all methods of communication. You can use calls, emails, SMS, postcards, social media. It may not all be automated, but it shouldn't be for maximum ROI. So if you're doing something like Sly Broadcast, which is an application that is an auto dialer and then just sends it directly to voicemail so you can leave messages like personalized voice messages, that's a good way to knock through a bunch of calls, but it's definitely not as personal or effective if I were to give you a personal phone call. Optimizing for delivery. So deliverability overview, it's a common issue. If you don't focus on it, you kind of just risk all of your work going to waste. So first thing is just don't spam. Right? You know if you're spamming. If you're sending an email every single day, it's a junk email, or you buy a list and you send it out to a bunch of people that you've never had contact with, you're spamming. Don't do it. It's going to waste your time. It's going to even put you back some too. So it's just not worth it. Ensure users are opted in and you have the permission. Ultimately, they should be expecting your email. They should be expecting like this little relationship between the two of you, like, hey, yep, I've accepted. You can now email me, feel free. And then you are just going to use that trust to send them valuable content and until they unsubscribe or if they ever do. Set up your DNS records, which we'll talk about. This is a little bit technical, but we'll try to make it as least technical as possible. Avoid spam language in emails, subject lines, and preview text. Kind of talked about it, but you could just do a quick Google search and understand or see what kind of spam language I'm talking about. Things like free, really that's just it, or a bunch of emojis. Free cash is a big one. Little items, little words like that you would probably see in your junk folder. Use a work email address tied to a website. So don't use like a Gmail. Use like an @company name or domain name.com. Ultimately, your email deliverability is tied to you and your business and your company's domain. So a better reputation means better email deliverability. But if you do any of these things wrong, you hurt your email deliverability, you hurt your own reputation. So let's talk about some DNS records. There's 3 records you mainly need to be concerned about. SPF is the first one. So we're going to talk about each one in common language and how they are all related to email authentication and security measures. So SPF, Sender Policy Framework. What it does, SPF is like a sender's ID card for their emails. It helps prevent email spoofing by specifying which mail servers are authorized to send emails on your behalf. So if I go, let me go back for a moment. And if I'm using an email marketing software, let's say I'm using HubSpot, and I say, hey, use client@wolfpackadvising.com or info@wolfpackadvising.com, and I send it from HubSpot. An SPF record in my DNS, which is DNS is just a record that's tied to your domain. We'll show you some screenshots here in a moment. But when that is tied to your domain, it's saying, hey, HubSpot has full permission to send emails on my behalf. That's your biggest one that you need to get a good old check mark and make sure your emails are getting delivered. If your emails are not getting delivered, more than likely your SPF record is incorrect. Domain keys, identified mail. DKIM adds a digital signature to an email message, allowing the recipient to verify that the message was indeed sent by the claim sender and that it hasn't been altered in transit. So an analogy of this, imagine sealing an envelope with a wax stamp and it has that sender's unique mark on it. So when the recipient gets a letter, they say, hey, it has their seal on it. So domain keys basically is a unique thing with your email sender that they'll provide. It's usually going to be Google Workspace. They're going to give you your own secret domain key. If you're with Google Workspace or Microsoft Office, they have their own unique domain keys that you can add to your DNS. So make sure you check the help articles on that to get your unique ones, because everybody's is different. DMARC, domain-based message authentication, reporting, and conformance. It helps build on the SPF and DKIM records before. It helps ensure that legitimate email is properly authenticated and gives instructions on how to handle unauthenticated emails. It also provides a way for the domain owner to receive reports about email authentication failures. So consider DMARC as the boss who not only sets the rules for who can attend the party, but also how to seal the envelopes, but also wants feedback on any security incidents. So it's basically checking, hey, we have SPF here, we have DKIM here. What's going on? And are there any security issues? Does it look like any emails were sent that weren't authenticated? If so, send me an email notifying me. That's what this one is. It's just, again, building on top of it, but it's not the one that is going to most affect your email deliverability. The most ones, or the most common ones you need to focus on, SPF, and then if possible, DKIM, domain keys. So here's an example of an SPF record. It looks a little technical, but I promise you it's not. It's just saying, hey, this is a text record. Text meaning this is just some text, right? Excuse me. Then we're going to say at. So this is at our domain, wolfpackadvising.com. So this is tied to our domain. And then here's the actual text. So this is the SPF record. It's always going to usually start with V equals SPF1. And then it's going to say include, and then some type of email server. So here for Google Workspace, it's always _SPF.google.com. And then it has a little squiggly and it says all. So include all email from this little email server. So here we actually have 3 separate ones, right? I have 3 separate ones in this SPF record. Here is DKIM and DMARC records. So DKIM or domain keys kind of looks like this. So here I have domain keys here and I have another domain key here. And then my DMARC looks like this. And this is basically looks kind of funky again. It's just text just saying, hey, basically we're saying what happens if emails are bad. If emails are bad, give this notice to support@wolfpackadvising.com. Looks technical, super not. I'm telling you, once you get into it, if you're with Wolfpack Advising as a customer or anything like that, we'll just handle it for you. If you have any questions on it, though, just email support@wolfpackadvising.com and somebody will help you out. Finally, let's get to analyzing campaign performance, and let's close this out. So, importance of tracking analytics. Without tracking analytics, you could be wasting your time and money. Consider it like this. Would you work for free? Honestly, like, put something in the comments if you would work for free. I bet you nobody comments right now, unless Deanna's there and you decide you want to mess with me again. So nobody wants to work for free. So your email campaigns should be generating you money. So here's how you should track your metrics. Open rate tracks every 7 days after an email is sent. Check routinely if running emails within an automation. So if you have an automation, check it every week. Say, hey, yep, this email went out. What's my open rate? You want to run A/B tests to improve open rates. Your email marketing software is going to include some type of A/B testing strategy. It might be on higher plans. Make sure you do everything else first, get comfortable with it, and then go with the higher plans to do A/B testing. But ultimately, your goal is to be over 20%. If you're over 20%, that's really good. If you're below 20%, you probably have an email deliverability issue, or something is actually really wrong with either your audience or your content. And you can start picking it apart, looking at all the different pieces we talked about today. Yeah, Deanna, you would not be working for free. I know you wouldn't be. Click rates. Track 7 days after a mass email is sent. Edward, you do volunteer work, man? Congratulations, man. Good for you. You do work for free occasionally. Yeah. I would work for free occasionally if my wife tells me I have to. So click rate, you want to track every 7 days after a mass email is sent. Check routinely if running emails within an automation. Just like before, you're going to check this every single week after an email is sent. And our goal here, above 2%. If you're above 2%, that's really good. It means you have an awesome button. You have an awesome call to action. You're connecting with the right audience. Your message is clear and your button is contrasting colors. If you're below 2%, look at the contrasting colors, look at your message, look at your segmentation, look at your audience, pick apart all those little steps and ensure you're connecting with the right people at the right time and you have the right message. It sounds super complicated, but if you just work backwards, you can start saying, hey, maybe I should have segmented this a little bit better, right? Unsubscribe rate and bounce rate. Check routinely if running emails within an automation. Your goal for your unsubscribe rate and bounce rate is less than 1%. Unsubscribe rate is just when they unsubscribe from your email list, and bounce rate is when the email is bad. So here's a summary of tracking those campaign metrics. You could see for this campaign that was sent, it was sent to 542 people. The open rate was about 49%. You can see that here. The clicks, just disregard the Apple privacy opens at this time. It goes a little bit more technical than that, but clicks, our click-through rate was 4.5%. Really good there. Our unsubscribe was 0%. Wow, we did good. And our bounces, 0%. Solid. This was a really good email marketing campaign. Whoever did this, really good job. Finally, tracking return on investment. So after you're ensuring your email marketing metrics are in line with your goals, connect your CRM and email marketing software with your point of sale system. Use the data in your point of sale system to match customers with their emails and contacts in your CRM. The easiest way to do that is when somebody makes a purchase, you're going to know their email address. And you just match their email address to your email marketing software. It sounds technical a little bit. Sometimes it can be. Reach out to our team and we can help with that and connecting the system. But basically, you just need to get the email addresses talking and saying like, hey, this person just made a purchase on our website. It was for $500. Connect that to the CRM or email marketing software. And just like before, I showed you with the deals, we create a record anytime we're prospecting to somebody. And then if they ever purchase something, it closes that deal and marks it as one. So that's how we do it. So if you send a contact through an automated email campaign, then they make a sale, you can attribute that automation to the sale, thus giving you a return on investment. Now, I know some people may say, but Aaron, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Absolutely. It's not always so simple. They could have seen a Google ad as well. They could have seen a Facebook ad. They could have just been, that's when they purchased things and that's when they did. It had nothing to do with your email. Yeah. And that's part of marketing. That's the fun part about marketing. You have to know how you're doing your attribution models, which just means how you're attributing your return on investment to your different marketing campaigns, and understand there's going to be nuances with each type of attribution model that you have. We have a blog on attribution models, basically how people are attributing sales to their marketing efforts. There's tons of different attribution models, and you're just going to find one that meshes with you. There are some common ones and popular ones that we typically do, which are notated in that blog. So from this particular case, we can see, hey, let me go back. We could see that they created, and this is from August 16th to September 16th, $58,000 or $59,000 worth of deals were created for this email campaign. Of that, they've won $20,000 within the 30-day window. So cold email outreach and prospecting. We're hitting a home run. We're getting to the end. We have 8 minutes remaining. So overview of cold email outreach. It's similar to cold calling, but with emailing. It's not a good idea to spam emails. So it's important to not spam and target your audience well with this. So here's some common pitfalls I just want to knock out real quick. You don't want to send too many emails. You don't want to not segment. You need to still segment here. You need to follow up on your initial emails. You can't just send an email once and expect them to purchase something. And you can't buy an email list. Okay? After you avoid that, here's a simple strategy for cold email outreach. Very simple, straightforward. First, obtain a good email list and clean the list. You could do that by attending an event and maybe they opt in then, right? You could do it by doing a webinar like this, or, there's tons of different ways. So once you get your different contacts, remember, we're not purchasing a list, then you can run it through something like Neverbounce. Neverbounce is a email cleaning software, so it can basically check your list and make sure that, hey, all of your emails are valid and they're good. Those are good emails. 2, send highly targeted and personalized emails to your email list. Segment them down, right? So first, separate them by industry, maybe by whatever demographic you want, or by different products and services for your company. And make sure you know their first name and last name. Those are the big ones. First name, last name, and email. Because then you can write, hey, John, right? It's kind of weird to put just their last name. It's kind of weird to just not put a name at all. So make sure you have all that additional information. Next, do not exceed 100 emails per day. Do not go more than 100 emails. A/B test your cold outreach email campaigns. Again, your email marketing software is going to include that feature. And test for better open rates and click rates. Deliver a call to action readers cannot refuse. The refusal will say, hey, purchase here. They're going to flat out say no. The one that they cannot refuse is say, hey, I checked out your website. There's really some cool improvements you can make to quickly improve your SEO. I'd like to tell you about it. Here's a free report. All right? That's something super easy. Or click this link for a free video, or for a video on how you can improve your SEO. And maybe it's me doing a personalized video on their website. Follow up on your emails a maximum of 2 more times. So total of 3 emails. And your last email should just be a breakup email, basically saying, hey, Tom, looks like you haven't replied to my last 2 emails. I guess you don't like me. That's okay. We can break up. Don't worry about responding to me. I will stop emailing you. That's a breakup email. It doesn't have to be that depressing, but it gets the message across. And then finally, use a good software. Consider using another email domain system that forwards to your website. i.e., like an example of this is, instead of doing companyname.com, purchase another domain, such as try company domain name or companyname.com. The reason being is because this can hurt your email deliverability. Again, if you exceed the 100 emails per day, like I talked about, or a bunch of people mark you as spam, or a bunch of the emails from the email list that you have are bad and they all bounce, it can hurt your email deliverability and your reputation. So if you have another domain, you can instead damage that one if you make a mistake, and keep your actual one still in good reputation. You can also use an email warm-up tool if you're using another domain. So there's a couple ones that I like here. So let me go back. So MailReach is that one that warms up your emails. You can check them out, mailreach.com or mailreach.co. So HubSpot, Wolfpack CRM are both good CRM systems. MailReach can help warm up your emails. Apollo.io can help find emails, same as Hunter.io can help you find your email list. And then Neverbounce, as I mentioned before, is good to clean your email lists. Here's a sample sales engagement from email campaigns from cold outreach that I've personally done. So here we can see I've sent out 1,400 emails. We've got 500 opens. Our unique open rate's about 32%, and our click rate's 2.56. So very high for a cold outreach campaign. That's pretty much it. So we'll start here with a Q&A. If anybody has any questions about email marketing in general, I'm here to answer your questions. Feel free to type in chat, whatever your questions are. As you're typing your questions, I just want to talk about a couple little updates. The first one is if you scan this, you're going to be going to, you can scan this if you want, but I'm gonna skip by it. Actually, I don't want you to scan it. You got to be super quick on your phone because it's going to take you to wolfpacksummit.com. You could just type it in your URL box. You don't have to scan the QR code. Just go to wolfpacksummit.com or scroll back on the live thing and on Facebook or something so that way you can scan it. Wolfpacksummit.com is going to have our conference where we have a full CRM workshop on Saturday. On Saturday from like 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., I'm going to be personally there walking through, hey, how do we do this full CRM thing? What is a CRM? We'll give you a free trial and explain everything that we kind of talked about here today. And we'll put it into practice. So if you like that, attend the summit, attend the conference. It's going to be in Tampa, Florida, and it's from January 17th through the 20th. The other thing you can do is go to wolfpackadvising.com/blog or under the resources tab. You can go view our digital marketing blog where experts like myself, as well as other people on our team who love to talk about marketing, are going to be posting regular cool content there. So here you can see an attribution model, a screenshot that we have, gaining followers on your LinkedIn business page, the power of marketing automation and customer's journey. All this cool stuff is going to be available there. By the way, I haven't seen any questions in chat. So if you do have any questions on this Q&A stuff, now's your time. Ask away. I don't know if I have any other updates. Oh, yes. There's 2 other webinars to the series. Actually, there's a secret bonus one. I haven't told you guys about the secret bonus one. There's a secret bonus one that we haven't announced yet. So we're doing on December 7th, an entrepreneurial mindset webinar. And then on December 21st, sales mastery with Secure24 for techniques on closing deals and driving revenue. So thank you all for attending. Thank you all for being here. If you do have questions in a Q&A, I'm going to stick around for another 2 minutes or so. I can answer those. But other than that, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Have a good one. As I mentioned, though, I'll stick around if anybody has any questions. No questions. All right. Well, thank you for attending. See y'all later. Oh, maybe one question. Oh, yep. Bye, Edward. Thank you. See ya.